Tonight, we report on the plane crash into Banks Lake and how Moses Lake celebrated with their spring festival. What's going on in sports, Bob?
There was a lot of exciting high school, state, and district playoff action going on over the weekend. Stick around and I'll tell you how it unfolded. Here's a peek at our Weather Center forecast.
Good to be with you, everybody. Pretty quiet conditions as of now, but all of this unsettled weather promising to impact the area. I'll bring all the details in just a few moments.
I'm Alan Troop. Stay tuned for all of this and much more on iFiber One News.
From the iFiber One HD studio here in the heart of the Columbia Basin, this is iFiber One News. Your #1 source for local news, sports headlines, and our very own Weather Center forecast covering the entire Columbia Basin. This is iFiber One News, and it starts now.
A man died after reportedly jumping from an ATV as it began to skid near Soap Lake. Colin Murdoch, a 23-year-old Auburn man, was a passenger riding on a Polaris Ranger ATV Friday afternoon on private property near Road 20 Northeast, about 7 miles east of Soap Lake. According to the Grant County Sheriff's Office, the ATV began to skid and Murdoch allegedly jumped off and hit his head on an irrigation circle pivot. He died from the injury. The ATV's driver, Matthew Giandella, a 24-year-old Kent man, received minor injuries and was treated at Columbia Basin Hospital. Neither man was reportedly wearing a helmet. No charges against Giandella are expected. Investigators are still trying to determine the cause of a Saturday afternoon plane crash that killed a man on Banks Lake. Witnesses reported seeing the Sea Ray amphibious plane began to take off at about 5 p.m. near Steamboat Rock State Park when the plane went nose down into the water and sank. Nearby boaters were able to pull Kenneth A. Berger, a 60-year-old Monroe man, out of the plane and take him to shore. He was pronounced dead a short time later. The Grant County Coroner's Office will perform an autopsy. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating. Memorial Day offered students from St. Rose of Lima an opportunity to show their respect. Reporter Cameron Probert has the story.
The veterans buried in Ephrata Cemetery were not forgotten this weekend. Students from St. Rose of Lima Catholic School and members of Ephrata's American Legion Post got together Friday to place crosses and flags at the grave sites of more than 300 veterans. Mike Montani, the post adjutant, said he spent 4 days last week determining where each of the veterans is buried. The oldest grave is one from a Civil War veteran.
It's important that we recognize the sacrifice of our veterans, and every one of them here, a lot of them here, actually sacrificed their life. They lost their life in combat. Most of them just died of natural causes after serving for, 2, 4, 20 years.
About 360 crosses were made by students at St. Rose of Lima, Montani said.
They do a project every year during Catholic Schools Week, which is the first week in March, if I remember right. And last year they decided they wanted to make crosses for the Ephrata Cemetery. And they came up with the number 300. They asked me how many veterans we got out there. Well, I didn't break out my list and count them like I should have. I said probably about 300. So they made 300. And it turns out we got about 380.
Several of the students helped place them Friday afternoon. They were in place until Monday. For iFiber One News, this is Cameron Probert reporting.
Thank you, Cameron. A Utah woman is in serious but stable condition after being hit by a truck mirror during a bicycle ride near Moses Lake. 26-year-old Karamia Oliphant was reportedly riding her bicycle east on Road 3 Northeast Friday morning when the mirror on a passing 2014 Isuzu box truck hit her, throwing her from the bicycle. According to the Grant County Sheriff's Office, she was airlifted to Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center in Spokane, where she is listed in serious but stable condition. Carl Hersey, a 53-year-old Moses Lake man, was driving the truck. The Grant County Sheriff's Office Motor Traffic Unit is investigating the collision and has not announced the cause. Oliphant was wearing a helmet at the time of the collision, and it most likely saved her life, Sheriff Tom Jones stated. Now let's take a look at people currently being sought out by the Grant County Sheriff's Office.
This is Sheriff Tom Jones with the Grant County Sheriff's Office. Each of the people you see here have a warrant for their arrest. If you see any of these people, we ask you do not attempt to detain or apprehend them, but call us at 509-762-1160 or send us an email at primetips@co.grant.wa.us. If the person is presenting a danger, call 911. With your help, we can bring these people to justice and make our community safer.
And we'll be right back after a short break.